Alright, what's up everyone, I'm Filoki, and today I want to talk a little bit about a predicament that the Seattle Seahawks will find themselves in after this season is over. It's a part of an overarching issue that the Seahawks have going into next season, but I want to focus in on a specific part, and that's the offensive line. Now, as we all know, the Seattle Seahawks offensive line hasn't really been the best. Since Russell Wilson got here, we've had some pretty bad offensive lines giving up 40, 50 sacks a season, and yes, Russell Wilson definitely contributes to giving up some of those sacks because he tries to extend plays, he tries to make things happen when things aren't there, and you could probably give 10, 15 sacks a season to Russell Wilson, but if he had a better offensive line, some of the times where he runs into another defender because he's trying to get away from one defender that's rushing him, there's a lot of things that go into what Russell Wilson does, and I would say a pretty decent amount of when Russell Wilson escapes and gets sacked, it comes from trying to get away from another person getting pressure on him. So it's definitely part Russell Wilson, and it's also a pretty big part the offensive line being pretty bad. Now, we've had some good offensive linemen, but we've never really had a good offensive line as a whole. We've had Dwayne Brown, and he's definitely been the best Seahawks lineman for a long time. We got Damian Lewis last year. He seems like he'll be a solid guy, but other than that, we really haven't had too many real solid guys that we can rely on the offensive line. Like right now, we still have Ethan Posich and Brandon Shell, who are pretty questionable guys who probably wouldn't be starters for a lot of teams still on our offensive line because we don't have better people to fill their spots. But that's not the big issue. Obviously, it's an issue, the offensive line being pretty bad for a long time, but what I believe is the biggest issue is that the offensive linemen that we have are probably not going to be on the team after this year. Now, I may have said that poorly and probably confused a lot of people, but what I'm saying is we have Gabe Jackson and Damian Lewis under contract after this year, which are definitely two good guys. I'm really glad we got Gabe Jackson. That is going to make our offensive line group a lot better this year. But going into next year's free agency, Dwayne Brown, Brandon Shell, and Ethan Posich all are going to be free agents after this year. And I don't really see us bringing back most of them. Now, Dwayne Brown, being 37 years old, I don't really see us bringing him back. I feel like he probably will retire after this year. If he does come back like on another one-year deal, I will be happy with that. Brandon Shell, being 30 years old, not being that great, probably not going to see him coming back to the team after this year. Maybe we sign back Ethan Posich. He'll be 28 when we offer another contract. That'll be probably another one-year deal, but I'd like to find a better center. And see, this is one of the reasons why I thought we should have gone offensive line in the draft. We got Dwayne Eskridge, and I'm happy with it. Dwayne Eskridge is going to be a really fun guy to have on the team. I think he will really work in the Shane Waldron offense, but seeing as though 3 out of our 5 offensive line starters are going to be not under contract after this season, kind of worries me. If we could have got someone like Creed Humphrey, who was surprisingly at our pick, or Ken Miners, or Josh Myers, or whoever else was there, we could have had a center that we would have been able to rely on for 4 years. We had 4 very good center options at our pick, and we didn't take any of them. Now, as I said before, I don't hate Dwayne Eskridge. I think he'll be a good player for us, but I was really upset that we didn't get center because of this exact situation. After this year, we have no real offensive linemen to fill in except for Gabe Jackson and Damian Lewis. Those are the only guys that we have under contract after this year. And even the guys that we don't have under contract, Dwayne Brown is really the only good guy that we could possibly bring back. It's not like bringing back Brandon Shell would be a great return. It's not like bringing back Ethan Posich would be a great return. If we had someone like a Creed Humphrey and we had 4 years with him as a young guy to continue to grow and build and then probably give him another contract because he'll probably be good, we would have left guard, right guard, and center completely set for at least 3 years. So that was one of the reasons why I was thoroughly disappointed with not getting Creed Humphrey at our second round pick. But really, I don't see us bringing back most of the offensive linemen we're going to be losing. I don't see a reason why we'd bring back Ethan Posich unless we don't have another option, which we probably won't. Brandon Shell isn't a great right tackle. He's just the best we have right now, and he's getting up there in age. Dwayne Brown, he's really good, but he's going to be 38 after this season. I mean, he's going to be getting up there in age. I wouldn't be surprised if he retired. I don't think he wants to keep putting that huge toll on his body. And the biggest problem that I have with this is the fact that we really don't have any ideas of what we can do to fix this situation. Next year in the draft, we have a lot more picks than we did this year, so maybe we go for offensive linemen pretty hard, but the hardest we've gone for offensive linemen was Damian Lewis, who was a 3rd round pick. The Seahawks haven't really shown that they want to go out and get an early round offensive lineman for the future. They don't really seem like that's their biggest focus. I think now, maybe maybe with a new scheme, we'll see the offensive linemen have a little bit less pressure on them to block because we're probably going to be doing different things, getting the ball out of Russell Wilson's hands faster, and that would be great. I would love to see our offense get the ball out of Russell Wilson's hands faster, not because I don't want to see Russell Wilson making plays, but I don't want Russell Wilson to keep getting sacked 40, 50 times a season because there's only so much damage you can take before you eventually get an injury, and we have been ungodly blessed with Russell Wilson staying healthy, surprisingly. So I definitely think it'll probably be a big focus for the Seahawks to go into the draft and try and get some guys to fill some spots because left tackle, right tackle, center, all are we have no idea what's going to happen after this season. Stone Forsythe hopefully will be able to take over that left tackle spot from Dwayne Brown, or right tackle, either tackle spot, but center we don't really know. Maybe we have one of the tackles figured out, but there's really no guarantee. And now if we actually look at the players that we'll have on the offensive line on roster in 2022, you see Ethan Posich here, but he's not actually going to be there. He just has money that we have to owe him that year, so that's why it shows him. He wouldn't be on roster. We have Gabe Jackson, Damian Lewis, like I said, 2 guards filled in. We're good there. We'd have no one else really to fill any other spots except for Stone Forsythe possibly being a guy to fill in the tackle spot. No one else here is really a guarantee. Maybe Pierre-Olivier Lestage, I said it right, could be the center of the future if he actually shows out and does really good. But I don't really think any of these guys here, other than maybe Stone Forsythe and Pierre-Olivier Lestage, could possibly fill in next year. I really hope Stone Forsythe does, because that would be nice to have a tackle spot set, because tackle is definitely very important. But I mean, here we have Gabe Jackson, Damian Lewis, and then a bunch of question marks. That's what really worries me. Now I'm going to be completely honest. I have no idea who is in the 2022 NFL draft for offensive line, if they're good or bad, if the entire class is good or bad for the offensive line. I really hope it's good, because this year we got graced by God. We were handed 4 amazing center prospects that we could have taken and had good guys for the future, but we just didn't take them. So I really hope for the Seahawks' sake and for Russell Wilson's sake, there are offensive linemen in the draft next year that we can get that can be long-term good guys for us. But what could we do now? That's the big question, and I'm going to be honest, not much. Maybe a Morgan Moses. That's really the only plausible thing that I've seen. A Morgan Moses, he's pretty good. He's definitely better than Brandon Shell. He dealt with a bit of injuries. He's getting up there in age, but he could still be a guy that we bring in, 1-2 year deal that could possibly come in, be better than Brandon Shell at least. I think Mitchell Schwartz is still available. They don't show him on this list, but he's just dealing with injuries. So I think that if he can be healthy, Mitchell Schwartz is still one of the top offensive linemen. I don't know what his situation is with his injury. I haven't heard much about him whatsoever, but if Mitchell Schwartz can somehow find a way to get healthy, get to at least 90%, he would still be one of the top offensive linemen, better than most of the people on our team. Here, there's really not too many great options, or plausible options at least, for the Seahawks to go for, except for Morgan Moses. I haven't heard any other people that could possibly be an option. Morgan Moses is the one that people really talk about. Mitchell Schwartz maybe, if he can get healthy. I did see at the beginning of the offseason, funnily enough, Isaiah Wilson was someone that people were talking about. 22 tackle. He got drafted early in the last few drafts, so maybe he could be good. But this man is an absolute menace to society. It's absolutely hilarious. Every single team he goes on to, he just finds a way to get cut after like a week. So I don't really think that it'd be worth it. Maybe a 22-year-old tackle would be an absolute heaven send to the Seattle Seahawks. But with the amount of issues that he's shown with the teams that he's been signed to already, I'm pretty sure he got cut from a team, and then he got signed to a team, and then immediately got cut after getting fined for doing something bad. I don't know the specifics of what happened to him, but I just know he got cut for being a menace, got signed because, man, look, a 22-year-old tackle, that was an early round pick, and then he got cut again because he was a menace. It's absolutely hilarious, this situation. Maybe we go for him. Maybe we just try our hand at fixing him, but a 22-year-old tackle, early round pick, maybe he could be good, but the off the field issues definitely seem to be ripe with him. And really, there's not too much more to talk about when it comes to this issue, when it comes to finding solutions, because there's really no great solutions. Maybe we could get Morgan Moses on a 2-3 year deal, but that's really the only way the Seahawks can do anything. We definitely have a problem where we're going to be losing 3 out of our 5 offensive line starters after this season unless we sign them back, and we have no real guaranteed way to fix it. The draft next year, maybe it'll be good, maybe the Seahawks can do something there, but when it comes to free agency, we can look at the 2020 2022 free agents for offensive line, but I really don't think it's going to be that great. I mean, we have a lot of people that are getting paid a lot. I mean, if you see any guys on this list that would be good options for the Seahawks that are relatively affordable, probably not these 3 or 4 guys because they're getting paid more than Dwayne Brown, but anyone under Dwayne Brown when it comes to getting paid, if any of you guys see people that are like really good sleeper options that the Seahawks could get after this year, let me know in the comments, because I don't really know too many offensive linemen when it comes to other teams. I know Trenton Brown, that's one of the few names I know. Eric Fisher, I know that name, I don't know why. But like, I don't really know many of the names here. Obviously, these guys are pretty good because they're getting paid an absolute boatload of money. But I mean, if anyone on this list is a really solid option that the Seahawks could go for next year, let me know in the comments. But really, I don't see a guaranteed way that the Seattle Seahawks can fix this issue with their offensive line being gone after this year. But I mean, that's going to be it for this video. Like I said, there's really not too much more to talk about when it comes to solutions to this issue, but this is definitely an issue. The Seattle Seahawks have always had a problem with the offensive line not being great, but now they have a problem with they're about to lose over half of their offensive line starters, so something's got to happen after this season. Maybe we extend Dwayne Brown for another year. Maybe we bring back Ethan Posich. Hopefully not, but I mean, we'll have to see what the Seahawks do because there's definitely a big issue here, and it's an overarching issue. If you saw that list of the Seahawks free agents after this year, most of our corners are going to be gone after this year. We're going to have to find a way to pay Quandre Diggs, Jamal Adams, Will Dissly, and Gerald Everett are going to be off the team after this year unless we sign them back. We also have some other like decent depth guys that are going to be gone after this year. I mean, we're going to have a lot of people to sign after this year that are going to be important to the team. Not any huge star names other than Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs, but definitely guys that if we don't sign most of them back, we're going to struggle to be a good team next year, or it's going to be a struggle to try to build back the team that we were this year if we do good this year. After that, I mean, our free agency next year is going to be very important. Signing back the guys that we have on roster now and possibly trying to get most of them back is going to be an important thing. But the offensive line is a big issue. Corner's also a big issue, but maybe I talk about that another day. Today was the offensive line, and it's not looking good. Let me know down below in the comments what you think about the situation. What do you think the Seahawks will do after this year when it comes to offensive line? Losing Dwayne Brown, Brandon Shell, and Ethan Posich, do you think we'll sign them back? Are there any options in next year's draft or free agency that you thought would be a good idea? Let me know down below in the comments like I said. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new, and with that, I'd like to thank you for watching. Have a great day.